Okay. Yeah. So April the 1st, April Fool. That's but I promise we'll not say any prank, anything bad today. We'll behave. So as usual, let's start with our prayer. And I'd like to invite the mentors of this group, the guides for the spiritual guides of every one of us, of our families, our homes, and invite them to be with us today. Our source in the spiritual realm, we celebrate your presence with us here and now. Let us be guided by unconditional love and be of service for the highest good. We thank you for the abundance we receive every day, and please forgive our mistakes as we forgive those who cause us difficulties. Help us never to judge another until we have walked a mile in his or her moccasins and her shoes. Help us to fulfill our purpose, uphold our values, and be understanding and compassionate. We ask for your guide and protection for our lives and the life of our families and friends. Set your way before us, Master Jesus. May we make a difference in this world for your glory and purpose. And so be it.
Amen.
Amen.
And so it is.
So it is. Folks, I have today a very interesting story to start our study. And I'd like to say thanks to Vladimir because he did help me with the video that I'm going to share with you. The video is in Portuguese, but I will explain the video before I play it, so you understand what you're looking at. So in a few months from now, there will be 21 years since Chico Xavier Xavier transitioned to the spiritual realm, and I like to share this story with you all. So back in June 2001, Chico, he was admitted to the hospital, Dr. Hélio Angotti in Uberaba City. That's in Minas Gerais, the same state as Luis and Lívia, they live. So again, back in June 2001, so Chico was very ill, and he was admitted to this hospital to treat a serious case of pneumonia in both lungs. So he was in the nursery, but then he was transferred to a suite, to a room on the second floor of that hospital days later. So during the medium's recovery, the journalists, they positioned the camera in front of the hospital, and they captured a very unusual situation. A luminous object appears coming down, and I'm showing here in this picture, a luminous object appears coming down and entering through the window of the room where Chico was. On that day, it seems like that object split in two beams of light, but then it becomes once again, or becomes one again when passing through the window. So the picture over here showing exactly when the potential object was split in two and then became one and passed through the window. So talking to researchers from a very respected university in Brazil, that University of São Paulo, evidently after seeing this and in capturing those images, so the journalists, they want to talk to some doctors from this university. So one of them said that an object, considerations from some of the researchers, and I have right here the very same words they mentioned. An object with a reasonable mass would present a parabolic trajectory, and that is not what happens here, since there was a rectilinear trajectory. So it was a straight trajectory. It was not something parabolic. So said the researchers. And the researchers, they also estimated that the radius of the beam of light was about 12 inches and should have been transparent, since did not leave a shadow on the on the walls. So the explanation, then everybody was talking about it. So after that story was circulating across the country, so several hypotheses came along trying to explain that phenomenon. So for the Spiritist community, they thought that Chico Xavier had received a mediumistic help to recover from the disease. And at that time, back in 2001, so at that time, the medium Shirlene Campos, that's a Brazilian medium. So she said to the journalists in an interview, she said, when the spirit is very evolved, it does not have its physical form and does not manifest itself in the form and does manifest itself in the form of light. So this force that came from the superior spiritual plane is certainly a team of spirits or a single highly enlightened spirit that visits Chico Xavier to support him in his physical strength, to support him in his recovery. So interesting enough, according to the doctor who treated Chico, in fact, he had a significant improvement in his health shortly after the visit. So the doctor, Euripides Dahan, that's the name of the doctor, we'll see him in the video. So he said to the journalists that he decided after he saw what happened, everybody was talking about, that video was, being broadcasted all over. So he decided to look at the medical record to see if anything had happened. And he noticed that from that moment on, Chico really started to improve. So the revelation is, after recovering from pneumonia, then Chico lived for another year in Uberaba City until he died on June 30th, 2002. So 1 year later. But before dying, he gave an interview in which he reviewed who actually did visit him on that day. So he said that it was his mother, Maria José, and Emmanuel, his spiritual guide. And mentioning the same words that Chico mentioned, he said, they told me to be patient. So Maria José, his mother, and his Emmanuel, his guide, told Chico to be patient. And they also said that he would only die on the day when all Brazilian people were happy. So according to Chico, he said that at that moment that they mentioned that, he left and he said, so then it means that I will never die. But the reality is that Chico actually died at the age of 92 at 7:30 p.m. on June 30, 2002, only 10 hours after the Brazilian national team won their 5th title in the Football World Cup. So the whole country was happy, the whole country was celebrating. And that makes me think about what kind of energy do the spirits, or do the spirits need around us to complete a discarnation process? Because it seems to me that in this case for Chico, it seems like the spirits, they need the entire country to be happy, so they were successful making Chico's transition. That's the story of the day, and I would like to share with you. But before then, let me play the video. And right here, we see Chico. He was 91-year-old. This is his son. He adopted a child, and this is his son. Chico was, 91. He was ill. I'm gonna play. There is no sound. But then this is the journalist with his camera, and you see the beam of light coming into this window. Look. So in a close-up, we see 2 and then 1 going down. And again, so we see 2 now, and then 1. So that's the doctor, Euripides Stahan. He was saying exactly that after that happened, then he was looking at the medical records. And this is his son, Chico's son, and saying that, after that visit, it was immediate. It was very noticeable, Chico's improvement. And you can see the 2 beam of light and then just 1. 2 beam of just 1, now 1. So that's it. Luis, I do not know if you have any comment, or if you probably saw that and you were there at that time.
Yes, can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that. I think I was watching the reporter, because I think it doesn't show in the video that there's a reporter on his microphone speaking, and this is the background. So it was something live, the live TV, and I didn't notice there. I was watching the reporter speaking, but in the background, someone noticed that, and then they called the TV people attention about this, right? So it was very funny. And of course, Chico Xavier was surrounded by phenomena 24/7. So this is no news for those who are used to, being together with him. It's very, very usual to have any kind of phenomena happen, physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever, psychological.
Yeah,
That's
it was just another day in the park for Chico.
Another day, yes. Of course, he wouldn't be in the hospital without something happening, of course.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, always
Yeah.
something was happening.
She
Carol,
was so famous. Doctors, for example, were afraid of Chico because Chico used to go. I remember once Chico was in a doctor, maybe a cardiologist, something like that. And the doctor started saying, Chico, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. Don't believe those things. And then Chico said a whole name of his best friend who had passed away many years ago. So, oh, there's a guy here called José da Silva, falava whatsoever. And he's a guy that's helping you all the time here because he does this, does that. And of course, the doctor started getting emotional and very, my God, I didn't even remember this guy was a best friend of mine when I was a medicine school student. So this was all the time, so there's non-stop for him. So it's interesting. But of course, this was public, people could see, right? It was something public.
Yeah, that's awesome. Carol, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just curious what happened to his son. I mean, did he go into medicine or did he go into any type of healing or does anybody know?
Luis?
I think he is graduated in dentistry, is odontology, yes, and he also continues some of the works Chico Xavier used to have in
The social
Uberaba.
work, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alrighty, so that's the story of the day. And okay. So last time we stopped at the question 804, law of progress, influence. No, actually, this is not law of progress. This is law of equality. Influence of spiritism on progress. Why has God not given the same ability and talents to all humankind? So the answer, God has created all spirits equal, but some have lived longer and consequently acquired more or fewer aptitudes. The difference between them lies in their various degrees of experience and the use of their free will. From there, some are perfected more quickly, which gives them a wide range of skills. This mix is necessary so that all human beings may contribute to God's plans within the limits of their physical and intellectual strength. Individuals make their own contribution. Whatever one cannot do, another can. In addition, as all the worlds of the universe are connected by solidarity, beings from higher worlds, most of which were created before yours, must come and serve as an example for you. So if okay, so I do not have, just a sec, okay. You don't want to see my emails, you don't want to see this as well, you don't want to see my present, oh God. Where is, I cannot really see, okay, there you go. 805, law of equality, inequality of aptitudes. 805, in passing from higher world to a lower one, do spirits preserve the faculties they had acquired? Well, in this question, we have two topics, right? So, or two things to think about, because it's saying that sometimes we have spirits passing from higher world to a lower one. So this is possible. And I guess this is not really a surprise to all of us, because we have been saying that for those who do not really learn from the lessons being taught to us on earth, those who didn't understand the moral values, the ethical values, etc., then those will be invited to pursue another route for their evolution. And that does not necessarily mean a world similar to Earth or better, but it most possibly means a lower or less evolved world. So over here, Louise is writing something, and Olivia is writing something. I see two things over here. So the answer, the question: in passing from a higher world to a lower one, do spirits preserve the faculties they have acquired? Any comment or anything? Shall we go to the answer? So So the answer is yes. We have already told you that spirits who have progressed cannot regress. And that is true. As spirits, they may choose a physical envelope that is more insensitive, or a position that is more uncertain, but each variation is intended to teach them a new lesson and help them to progress. Any comment? And over here we have a comment from Allan Kardec: the diversity of human abilities is the result of the various degrees of perfection achieved by the spirits, rather than something intrinsic to the creation of humankind. God has not created the inequality of human faculties. God permits spirits of different degrees of development to be in contact with each other, so that the more advanced may help those who lag behind, and so that all human beings may understand the law of charity that is destined to unite them. Comments? Or yes, Louise or Olivia?
Yes, this reminds us of the law behind the process of exiling and those who are deported, those spirits who are deported from a higher level planet to a lower level planet. We can regress in the we can regress in the matter, but we cannot regress spiritually. But in the matter, in flesh, we can regress. And this is our resource law, the laws of life used for us to progress. So if we use our intelligence and our means, material means, in a bad way, we sometimes can be born in a very difficult place to know the value, to give the real value to that thing that we didn't use. Just as Jesus Christ said, if one of your eyes is a reason for a scandal, it's you better get into life without two eyes, only with one, right? Not to be in trouble spiritually, right? The same with your arms, with your legs, everything that you misuse can be removed from you, just as a lesson for you to learn how to value that thing. That's why many very good spirits, they are afraid of possessing many things, because the more they possess, the more responsibility and the more consequences of bad use they will suffer in the future, right? And that's something that happens there.
Yeah. Thank you, Luis. So with that, we, anybody else? No? With that, we move to social inequality. Okay, yeah, Giles.
One more. I've read in different places, and I'm sure Luis can corroborate this, that the incarnation of any individual spirit can take place partially. So there's a certain percentage of the spirit which is present. If it incarnates fully, then it's a very powerful person being incarnated. If it incarnates only 10%, then of course it's a modest being. Now this I've never understood and have no way of explaining why a spirit would want to do this, or even if it's possible. I wonder if Luis has any comment on that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is very, I think the logical thing behind that is that when we see that, for example, suppose someone was very powerful, very intelligent, a leader, but made so many mistakes, very serious. He bought a lot of debt with the divine law, together with the crowds of society. Sometimes these spirits, they are born in very humble places, very humble countries, in the outback of those countries, and sometimes with some retardment in their. So what's happening here actually is that maybe only 10 or 5% of their capacity can be used, right? So in this sense, I do believe, and I see this all the time. Chico Xavier, for example, when he used to go around, walk around the place with to help poor people, sometimes he named people. This was a general, what's his name, Papa, and he fought in Belgium in the battle of that day. And one of his worst mistakes was this, and he was put here because he spoke very whispering. Because if the whole crowd of spirits that he damaged, that he did
causing
wrong
harm,
with, has caused harm to them. If they discover him here, he will have to be removed from his body. He will have to die because
it was a death sentence.
Lots of yes. So many people they are hidden in these places to get away from this life of power, because they are really very powerful people, very knowledgeable. But that's why everything on this planet need to be used with a lot of wisdom, because power. Emmanuel used to say something that I like, but it's very difficult for any parents, any father or mother accept. Say, if your son has serious moral problems, don't give them faculty or university, right? Because they will be much trouble in the future. It's better if they stay humble where they are, and not get in touch with a very higher level of knowledge and complicate their pathways on the planet. Yeah.
Oh, it's like a protecting them, because otherwise, not having moral values, they would use knowledge in the wrong way. Is that what Manuel?
Yes. For example, I worked in the bank for 7 years, and I saw young people, right, brilliant young people, getting into very serious spiritual trouble because of this, right? Because they were very enthusiastic, but with one pen, they sometimes sign a decree about the next 200 years for them, right? And of course, they were on the run, they were on the go, everybody making a lot of money. But I just prayed for them because it was really tough.
Yep. Thank you, Luis. Leda?
About Giles' question, the spirits say that children they only complete their reincarnation when they are 7 years old. So until they are 7 years old, they are not 100% in the physical body. So that's why sometimes little children, they remember past lives, And as they grow older, these memories, they fade and they can't access them the same way that they used to before. So, but I've never heard of people that stay in that condition longer. Maybe mediums. If there is, I would say that maybe some mediums like Chico Xavier or some very strong mediums, they might be in between plans, like children that are not 100% connected to their body, you know, but it's not that their bodies are somewhere else. It's just that it's easier for them to be in a connection with the spiritual world. It's not that they can be multiple people at the same time. You know, they are just one person that can be in contact with the spiritual world easier, and with the deep conscience easier. That's how I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, Leda. It's the same understanding that I have in the, as a matter of fact, what you mentioned about the kids, you know, children being able to see or being able to be in different dimensions and 2 dimensions at the same time is very, it's very true. I saw that happening to my own kids. You know, I could tell that my oldest one, he was constantly, I could see him talking to somebody and sharing his toys and sharing his cookies and milk and stuff with somebody, or calling me, come on, Mom, come over my room over here, because I see this beautiful, beautiful angel here in my room. So, and evidently I was going there and I was, oh my goodness, but I was not really seeing anything. But yeah, it was very common. And yeah, all the references that I found, it was about that same age, like between 7, 9-ish kind of age, and then they will forget. But only then their incarnation was 100% complete, right? All right, so moving to social inequalities, and the question now is 806, is the inequality of social conditions a law of nature? Evidently, the answer is no, it was created by human beings, not God. So, but then the question A, letter A, will this inequality eventually vanish? And the answer is only God's laws are eternal. Have you not noticed that it is being steadily erased every day? Your present inequalities will vanish with the disappearance of pride and selfishness. The only inequality that will remain is that of merit. A day will come when the members of God's family will no longer view themselves as more or less pure. They will know that it is only their spirit that is more or less pure, and that this is no way related to social standing. So, any comment? I think it's very straightforward.
Well, there's one comment to make, of course, that these inequalities will always exist as long as humans are incarnating, for the simple reason that the karma has to be satisfied. And therefore, people will be born with greater or lesser physical abilities. And these are inequalities. Therefore, humans will be unequal because they won't all be the same. By the way, it would be incredibly boring if the whole world was like California and everybody was tall and gorgeous and slim and athletic and good looking and age 30 for since they were 10 to the age of 90. It would be very boring.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I truly embrace diversity. I think it makes us stronger. I mean, we are not.
It's a necessary situation for the human incarnation. And there can be, I've no doubt in this enormous universe that there are other civilizations elsewhere where everybody is equal and they have a real civilization.
Yeah.
And these, if I read things correctly, are really boring because you can't, there's no challenges.
We say inequality from the materialistic standpoint, but the answers and the teachings over here is from the spiritual standpoint. But from the materialistic standpoint, hey, from our fingerprints, there's not two equals. I mean, in genetics, so we have so many other things, telling us we are not equal. But this is about spiritual teaching, right? So, anybody else? Nope.
Well, Allan Kardec did not know about California. And, and California as such did not exist at those times. So the similarity that I've chosen is, it makes us all laugh because it is just so impossibly silly that the whole of the humans would look like this.
We are not trying to sell anything. This is not a propaganda. There is not some, so we don't have to be perfect like Californian people. Okay, so 807. What should we think of those who abuse the superiority of their social standing to oppress the weak for profit? We'll go ahead and read the answer because I think it's they deserve to be condemned. Wow. Their fate will be miserable because they will in turn be oppressed. I think Luis mentioned this many, many times when he said that, all those conquistadors from Europe, guess what their next incarnation was? In America, in the same oppressed America. So because they will in turn be oppressed and they will be reborn into an existence. Wow, Luis, this is stopping you. They will be reborn into an existence where they will suffer all that they have caused others to suffer. So that's exactly what Luis tells us all the time.
Yes, that's it. That's what I say. When Brazil was in a very bad condition, not third world, but a third world country, maybe a fourth or fifth world country, 50 years ago, the spiritual resources were so rich in the country because there were so many people that came from Europe and being born here after wars, after having lots of power and prominent reincarnations, and they needed to be hidden in this country, but they had the help of such mediums like Chico Xavier to try, for them to try to surpass all those, to overcome all those difficulties. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So this is was something that was very clear that when once they asked Chico, I told you that before, Chico, why do so many people in Brazil who are very important people, in Spiritists, for example, only very important people from the past, Chico said, no, but this is true, because the humble ones are in heaven, right? The non-prominent ones are in heaven, but those those very complicated spirits, many of them were brought here for healing.
Yeah, this is, yeah. Yeah.
Satya Sai Baba once upon a time said, all humans on the planet are here because they're ill. They need curing. Imagine this place is a hospital and everybody in it is a patient. And that's why we're here. When you're cured, you don't have to come back anymore.
Oh yeah, no doubt. This planet is our home, our school, our hospital. Yeah.
He said something else too, which, well, he said a lot of things because he was busy for 60 years, not for 3 years like JC. And one of the things he said was, when you pick a god to worship, pick a human that you believe to be the highest human you can understand and direct your prayers and thoughts to that person. When time goes by and you grow, or you discover that person is bad, pick another one and continue. I liked that very much. That was a very gentle way of saying that since you cannot imagine what a god is, any kind of a god, you can imagine what a human is, and you can pick a good one according to the best understanding that you've got. So I've no doubt that Luis and Livia have people in their area who direct their prayers to them because they are the highest people that they can conceive of in their area. And when they grow, then they will pick another higher person because there always seem to be more. Sorry, that was a little off subject, but worth saying because Sai Baba has said some very, very nice things.
Yeah, we according to that, we have sometimes in life we pick a mentor only to believe that mentor later on is as faulty or flawless as we are, right? So
or less than we now want, because presumably we grow, and unless the mentor grows as well, which is maybe, then there'll come a time when you want a better mentor. But that's learning, that's classes, that's schooling, that's entertainment.
Except that as until today, I have not found any human being walking in the same moral values or moral behavior as the ones that I've seen.
Satya Sai Baba, of course, who's still around. He's gone, but he's not gone, and he will be back as in a third incarnation. So unless you can pick somebody better than that, that's a very good one to be going on with.
All right. So, okay, so if we continue, economic inequality, oh my goodness, here it comes. 808 is economic inequality a result of the inequality of faculties, which gives some individuals more means of acquiring wealth than others. So I'll read again. Is economic inequality a result of the inequality of faculties, which gives some individuals more means of acquiring wealth than others? And the answer is yes and no. What about fraud and robbery? What do you say about them? So it makes one think, right? So if you are intelligent to be wealthy enough, you may use that intelligence also to do wrongdoings, right? So I guess that's what this is about. And then the letter A is inherited wealth, not the fruit of evil passions? And the answer, evidently, how do you know that? Trace their source and you will see whether it is pure or not. How do you know whether they were earned by plundering or the fruit of an injustice? Regardless of their origin, do you think that pining for wealth, even when honestly acquired, is admirable? This is what God judges, and divine judgment is often more severe than that of human beings. Comments or yes, Giles?
I definitely don't like that idea of God judging individually. Karma is a natural law, and that I do like the idea of, because it is perfect balance. If the idea of God has got so twisted by the various religions that it's difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
So I like to go with karma instead of God making.
Yeah, I like the idea of, karma. It's consequence, law of cause and effect, right? So it's your own consciousness. Yeah, thank you. Gloria, please.
We've talked here before about intention. And I think intention plays a part in this. In other words, what is your intention in gaining wealth? Is it to do good with it, or is it to enslave people with it? And I've been lately where I see the word God. I also don't think God judges us. I think we judge ourselves, that we're enlightened to a point on the other side where we can really look at what our intention was when we did various things, and that we will have an assessment of our own about whether we responded to it in a godly way or an ungodly, there's that word again. If we responded to it with a loving intentionality or not a loving intentionality. So that's what I substitute for God.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Luis, please.
Yeah, this is a matter of words again. I think we've been learning this, that even in the Spirit's book, that consciousness is the presence of God in us, within ourselves, right? So when they say that God judges, he's saying that we are judging ourselves through our consciousness, which is God in us. Just this remark I'd like to.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so back to sharing, because I think I'm not sharing. So 809 is if a fortune has been obtained illegally or fraudulently, are those who subsequently inherit held accountable? Yeah, I also don't think it. So the answer is they are in no way responsible for the wrong that may have been done by others and of which they may not even be aware. Often fortune is granted to specific individuals for the sole purpose of giving them the opportunity of making amends for an injustice. If these individuals understand this, good for them. If these individuals do it in the name of the person who committed the injustice, the reparation will be counted to both of them, because it is often the latter who now in the spiritual world has simulated the incarnate wants to work towards this reparation? Comments?
There is a book by Chico Xavier that tells the story of a man who killed their brothers to be with the fortune of the family. He didn't want to share with them, to split with them, and he killed his brothers. And of course, after being dead, the brothers came to ask for their share, right? Mm-hmm. And they were, for many, many years, they were around this family. So even not being, sounds like liberation, it's another book. It's, Luis, help me, what's the name of the book? I forgot. But then they are around.
Is it Nosso Lar, Our Home?
No, it's the.
I don't recall that.
Liberation is what it sounds like. Annie, what do you think?
It's very much like, because it's by André Luiz, but so these brothers of him, they are around the family. So the family is not guilty for what the father had done, their father had done. The children are not they are not
the heirs.
Yeah, the heirs, they are not responsible, but they kind of suffer indirectly for what the father had done. And eventually, when the spirits come and help, it's not liberation.
It's action and reaction.
Action and reaction, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Action and reaction. And then eventually, when the spirits come and help the family, then these brothers, they're put to reincarnate as the grandchildren of the man who killed them. So in this way, they would have their money back. It's one of the ways. So they get to be the grandchildren of their murderer. So, it's very interesting the way that the divine justice works in these matters, right?
Yeah. And it's nice to see we have the opportunity to repair, right? To repent and repair. I like that. Thank you, Leda. Anything else? Any other comment? No. So, but okay. So, Luis.
Yes, I was remembering that I think it's in the two worlds, in
the greater world.
The greater world. There's a history on the contrary. The guy, the man, I think it's Gilberto, his name, he took the money.
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
He took the money of his sister, and he didn't let she take the inheritance. And she got poor, and he was very rich, and he discarnated and was very guilty about it. And then she forgive him, she forgot him, and
the greater world myth.
And he reincarnated
as
her son. And he would be poor too, as she was, but he would not be guilty, and she would take care of him, and he would take care of her as his son, and then he would recover his consciousness, because he was feeling guilty about that. And In this case, he lost his money because he didn't reincarnate from his other son that was rich too, but he reincarnated from his sister.
Okay, so he incarnated on the poor side of the family.
The family, because his consciousness was asking for that.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's a very nice stories. So 8:10, without breaking the law, we can dispose of our assets more or less equitably. Oh my goodness. Equitably. Equitably. Yeah, thank you. I could never say this word. Are we accountable for the use we have made of it after we die? So without breaking the law, we can dispose of our assets more or less in an equal way. Are we accountable for the use we have made of it after we die? And they answer, every action bears fruit. The fruit of good deeds is sweet, while the of others is always bitter. Never forget that. Okay. So 8:11, is absolute economic equality possible? Has it ever existed? Well, this is a world of trial and atonement, right? So no, it is not possible. The variety of faculties and personalities makes it impossible. So I guess it goes with the comment that Giles had a few minutes ago, as far as, how diverse we are. In the letter A, there are those who believe that it is the remedy for all the problems of society. What do you think of that? And they answer, anyone who believes that it is either motivated by both ambition and jealousy, or is responsible for the creation of systems, they do not understand that the equality they dream of is quickly decimated by the circumstances of life. Fight selfishness, because that is the plague of your society, and do not chase after pipe dreams. Any comment on that? No, Luis, any?
Well, it's worth commenting that selfishness is, in fact, the source of all evil.
Selfishness and pride.
And evil does not exist as a separate thing out there, as far as I can understand. I mean, obviously, in 1,000 years, I may understand more than I do now. But the cause of all evils on the planet are selfishness. And we begin to see it in the higher animals. And it's my opinion that karma does actually come into being with the higher animal levels. And then, of course, in humans, it is tremendous. Mm. But then when we get through with the human stage and we move on to the superhuman stage, that's going to be a wonder, because no more karma. Why? Because now, as a superhuman, you know that love is the only thing that matters. Mm-hmm. And love upholds the universe. And a superhuman is not engaged in petty bullshit. Sorry, I should not have said that word. I should have said BS. But humans are obviously subject to karma in a big way. I'm sorry, I'm losing track of where I was now.
Thank you, Giles. Luis, Livia.
Thank you, Giles. Well, what Giles says all the time, in Allan, Kardec used to say all the time, is pride and selfishness. So this is so profound, and that's why the spirits write so many books, many people ask, why did Chico Xavier write more than 400 books? Because this reality of selfishness and pride is something that we need to really go deep into it to understand how to battle, how to struggle against this. Because on this planet, almost everything is based on that. And many of us, they had this impulse of life to progress, to survive because of pride and because of selfishness. So this is something that's why Emmanuel has a very strong sentence about us. He says, we are the children of the mistake, right? The mistakes children, mistakes offspring, because we've been making many mistakes for so many centuries that we are addicted to pride and selfishness. This is something that we think we cannot survive without that, right? Because we know that's what means on this planet, progress, success, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And that's exactly what will bring us so many difficulties in the future. And that's why we just don't understand people like Jesus Christ and the apostles. And just we want to get away from that and put aside the moral aspect of the Gospels, for example, because we want to study other accessory matters, right? But this is very profound. And that's why the spirits all the time are writing, trying to make us understand, be self-conscious that we still have lots of this pride and selfishness within us. And we need to try to progress as fast as possible to get rid of that thing so that we suffer less to learn.
Yes, Kardec says in Gospel According to Spiritism that you always be in some difference in administrating money, and someone you always get the same account, but you give less in the end. And of course, it will always be someone to administrate more than others. But if you were not so selfish, maybe you could administrate for everyone and help everyone, and help each other, and not be. It's not so simple as that, but maybe the spirits are saying that we could be in a different society if we help each other more, and to administrate their own money, to not administrate only for us, and not simply divide.
It's a very difficult truth.
Yeah.
Imagine San Francis of Assisi, right? He once was asked, this is historical.
Yeah.
He once was asked, why don't you have anything? Well, because I like freedom, right? I don't have anything, I like freedom. But if you want to give me a dish, food, a piece of bread, and a place to sleep and some clothes, I can do whatever work you want me to do. Imagine if all the expertise in this planet thought like this. This planet would be a paradise in 2 weeks, right? Everybody know I will work here for some food. Everybody, yes. And the progress and technology at its best, the state of the art.
We'll be back to slavery.
Yes. So this in the situation, that's why in Christianity you say, if you start, they asked Emmanuel, which is more important, spiritual charity or physical charity? And he says, physical charity, nobody can discuss about that because it's something divine. But in the Spiritism, we are in an educational level because the individual is educated, right? We won't need any more nursing homes. We won't need any more, child care centers. Every home will be a nursing home, a child care center, whatsoever, and so what. And that's what he thinks that they think. So it's a very profound moral, right? Profound moral. And I know, we need to understand that that's why we need to be humble, to forgive each other, because we're going to make mistakes along the way and we're going to hurt each other along the way. But that's our aim, we're going to get there one day.
It'll be a good place for everyone.
A good place for everyone, yes.
Not a bad place for everyone.
Because yes, everybody starts giving, if everybody starts giving, of course, this planet will be wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
One day.
Everybody, it's something that America has a piece of knowledge, a piece of posture about that. Because American, for example, they like seeing the money in movement, right? I think Americans, they don't save much money as far as I can understand about some researchers, right? And this is, and Americans, they think that the more you pull out your wallet from your pocket, the more the economy runs, the more, and the richer people are. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's a basis of this
yeah.
kind of philosophy.
Yeah, I can mention that because based on the meetings and you know the some of the sessions that we have had in my company and some of the companies that I had the opportunity to see, management, they more and more say and include in their, not only in their words and their speeches, but also in the actions and decision making, they are talking about giving back to community. So they really believe, and they try to guide their decisions in that, you know, giving back to community. So this is a change, and I feel so happy when I hear that, because the thing is, we may go to church or whatever, you know, community you belong to or you want to belong to, that you may read all the lessons in the Bible and do everything according to a moral value in your guide, in your spiritual guide, or in the Bible, whatever. But at the end of the day, if that moral value is not in alignment with the heart, with compassion, with mercy, then that is just how can I say, is not really what it is requested from us. I mean, we will never reach full potential until we align our behavior, those moral values or the lessons that we learn as we read, if we do not align them with the heart. So all right, so the last one, I guess, for the day is 812. 812, if economic equality is not possible, is equal well-being also impossible? And the answer, no, but well-being is relative. And everyone can enjoy it if people can reach a good understanding among themselves, like what Luis was saying. True well-being entails dedicating your time according to your passion, not work that you dislike and for which you have no talent. Everyone has different abilities and talents, so that no worthwhile work is left undone. Equilibrium exists in everything, but the human race disturbs it. Yeah. And the letter A, is it possible for human beings to reach a mutual understanding? The answer, they will arrive as it when they practice the law of justice. Comments or?
Yeah, I believe it's possible that we get equal well-being for everyone when society is more developed, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that everybody will have the same richness, but that the the basic needs will be attended. You know, the basic needs will be fulfilled. Like everybody will have a home, everybody will be able to study and to have health care and to have leisure, and this is well-being, right?
Yeah.
And but of course there will always be some people who will be richer or more talented, or but at least the basics should be in the future. I believe they will. No one will die from hunger or from cold, or not attended in a hospital, not right?
Yeah, I agree. We should have access to the basic needs, all of us, right? Same access. All right, folks. So it's 4:14. I guess I will stop for today, but hope to see you all next Saturday. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Oh yes, I need to tell you something. I do have information for this October event. I should have this today, but certainly for next Saturday I will have, and I can share that with you all. All right.
Hey guys, have a
Thank
nice
you.
week.
Thank
Everybody
you all.
stay safe. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.